If it seems like summer is getting not only hotter, but also longer, it's not just you. That's actually what's happening. So the Washington Post has taken all this US weather data and they've done this amazing analysis of the changing seasons over the last 30 years. And you can take a look at this map. This is from 1965 to 1984 compared to the last 30 years. So 30 years to 30 years, how long the summers were over those periods of time. And the redder the area is, the longer summer is in those areas. And in some of these areas, it's more than 3 weeks longer than it was just a couple of decades ago. Not thousands of years. This isn't the Al Gore like hockey stick or whatever. This is just since like what's the time period Stranger Things is about. And so we need to jump into some of these examples because they're absolutely amazing. There are places in America like Key West, Florida, where summer is 39 days longer than it used to be. And that's crazy. And we had to cover this because I like to think of myself as reading a lot about global warming. I had no idea how rapidly we were changing the seasons just in our own lifetime. So DC, 9 days longer. New York City, Seattle, 6 days longer. Some are not as bad. San Francisco's 42-day longer summer than it was just 30 days ago. And you can see this map is gonna compare a whole bunch of them. LA's got almost a month more of summer, and it certainly feels like it. And so you can see across Tampa, it's really all across America. It's a lot of the coastal areas, it's a lot of big cities, but it's rural areas as well. In some places, getting more than a month more summer than they used to. Now, the reason for this might shock you. The root of the prolonged summer heat, it turns out, is the overall increase in global temperatures as a result of greenhouse gas emissions. Sorry, I meant that it might shock you if you were born earlier today and didn't know anything about climate change. If you do, then no, it's not gonna shock you. It's climate change that's doing it actually. But let's all just ignore it. As summers get longer and hotter and wetter and people are literally dropping dead, let's just ignore it. As we cruise towards a time when it's gonna get worse faster than it already is, because I'm gonna throw out one more really devastating fact, and it's something that's not talked nearly enough about. The ocean has absorbed about 90% of the net increase in temperature happening around the globe, and this has been going on for literally decades. About 90% of it goes right into the ocean, and that's why the oceans are heating up. That's causing all sorts of problems with the coral reefs and with fish and all that stuff. But it can't do that forever. At some point, it will tap out and it will no longer be taking the bulk of that increased heating, which means that at that point, everything that's not ocean will begin to accelerate in how much hotter it gets. We haven't even experienced that yet, JR, and already our summer is a month longer than it used to be. I'm gonna need to take a look at some, I think, maybe mountain real estate in northern Canada or something. I wanna stay ahead of the curve on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, bro. You notice how things keep changing. Remember I forget it was a senator or a representative years ago made a snowball on the floor. He was like, I still have a snowball. Was it Inhofe? Yeah, I
It
can't
might have
remember.
been
What a
Inhofe.
loser.
Yeah.
I still have a snowball. What are you guys talking about global warming? Because they're playing dumb. So the goalposts, of course, always move. We go from snowballs are still there to then like, don't you love summertime? Get more beach days. Don't you like your swimming pool? And then it'll change into, well, they got these intense hurricanes coming, and all these weather events are worse, sweeping out areas that never had this level. Our infrastructure that we don't support in any kind of our finance and any of our tax-paying dollars, those are all destroyed because the level of these storms come. They're like, well, maybe the better swimmers will start lasting longer, and then it's gonna keep moving. You notice they don't talk about this anymore. There was a big push for pushing back against people, all these nerds that were listening and paying attention to scientists that knew what they were talking about. I think they've given up the argument. They're not even on that anymore. We're too busy trying to survive this madman in the White House. We have no time to think about the things that we were talking about before. You're like, well, at least that argument's done. They're too caught up with trying to save themselves from a military state that's rolling through their city. Just keep paying attention to how much we've moved on from the normal conversations that we used to have. Now this is our new norm.
Yeah. Now, bearing in mind that almost nobody will have clicked on this video because it's about global warming, and bearing in mind that many of those who did will have eventually stopped listening because that happens in YouTube videos. Now I can just say, for the devoted fans, I have utterly no faith whatsoever in our capacity to do anything about this. I mean, our real chance was the 2000 election. Let's keep it real. If we had gotten Al Gore, maybe we would have done something. And over the last 3 elections, I mean, there was a chance belatedly that we could have stopped some of the worst outcomes, but no, we're just not gonna do that. I mean, still in the next election, it should be a thing that you think about because no matter how bad it gets, it could always get worse, and I don't want that, but no, the people who are willing to set fire to our planet to make a little bit more short-term, revenue for their corporations, they won. And we will suffer as a result of it. And we'll suffer unvaccinated as a result of it, thanks to the other ways that they've won.